At that time, I was 21 years old, 21. I volunteered for the U.S. Army Air Corps. Of course, I knew if I didn't volunteer, I would have been drafted. Seeing those B-25s and pilots strutting around with those wings, it was kind of interesting, and I guess that sort of influenced me. Went to Fort Jackson to take the aviation cadet exam. There were some guys that, like myself, a few of us had only finished high school, 3 or 4 had been to 1 year of college, some the year and a half after we finished taking the exam for about 2 hours, waiting on them to grade the exam to come and tell us whether we passed, failed, or whatever. So we were all sitting out there, and the old sergeant, I remember, came out and started calling names. Jones, Penny, Wayne, Jim, John. There's 2 of us left. And so we sort of commiserated with each other. Well, I guess we're the only 2 that didn't make it. Lo and behold, in about 10 minutes, the guy started to stringing back out and said, well, congratulations, fellas. Said, you're the only 2 that made it. From our Avoy training, our next stage was combat, which was Saipan. We were shipped to Saipan, and bombing missions began in September of 1944. We flew from Saipan to Iwo Jima, Hahajima, Chichijima, that's where George Bush was shot down. I was there. And Marcus, Truk, I think that was the islands that we bombed from Saipan, where I was stationed. I flew 30 combat missions from Saipan, and then later flew 10 more combat missions from Guam. Flew a total of 40 combat missions. We had, I was very fortunate. Didn't a single member of my crew get physically injured. October the 1st, 1944, I remember quite so well. We were 12 planes, 12 B-24s, and we got about 50 miles out from Iwo Jima. We were met by 12 Japanese Zero fighter planes. But as we were nearing the target, a pilot named Fred Snyder, I'll never forget, flying off my right wing. All these Zeros came in and zeroed in on him and shot him down. And Fred and his co-pilot, George Spurking, we knew all the crew. They were fellows that we had been through training with in the States and in Hawaii before we shipped down into combat. They were very good friends of ours. But we'd had chow with them the night before, we'd played cards with them, talked about home with them, and commiserated over why we didn't get more mail, all kind of things. I mean, we just a few hours before, and as they were going down, I'll never forget this. I heard over the radio, we had on open radio, Fred yelling out over the radio, said, oh God, slow up and wait on him. I said, I've been hit, my co-pilot's hit too. And out of my peripheral vision to my right, of course, I could see him down, 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 and all of a sudden, boom, big explosion, hit the water, 10 men, boom, going like that. And I can remember coming home from this mission. Seems to me I had the most ethereal, the most quiet, beautiful couple of hours of flight that I'd ever seen. It seemed that the sky was just such a gorgeous blue sky, white fluffy clouds, beautiful blue Pacific below us on our way from Iwo back to Saipan from where we were flying. It was just, I just had this feeling, out-of-body experience almost. It just felt surreal. I remember having that feeling. And of course, I told a story to somebody one time and said, I felt like I was in the presence of God, you know. As we got back to Saipan and we landed, my pilot, Cy Gordon, great pilot, he was a great man, but his nerves went shot on him. He just went to pieces. In fact, eventually shipped back to Hawaii, to the Tripoli General Hospital in Hawaii, and he was in and out of Tripoli General for the rest of the war. My waist gunner, John Dulkowski, call him Duke, was in Waste Gun. He was a street gang kid from Philadelphia. He was gung-ho, but he went to pieces. I remember he laid on the ground. He was a Catholic kid, had his rosary, he handled his beads, and he walked over and talked to him and said, "Lieutenant," said, "no way I can get back on that plane again. I just can't do it. No way I can get back on that plane again." Gordon, my pilot, he never completely got over his. There was nothing cowardice about him. It just couldn't take his nerves. Just wasn't there. Duke was a little different story. 2 or 3 days later, old Duke came to me and says, "Lieutenant," said, "I paid my piece." Said, "When we're ready to go, I'm ready to go. I'm gonna be with you." I said, "Fine, Duke. What happened, buddy?" "Well," said, "I went up behind the mess hall up on the hill there where the burying ground is, where the white crosses are, the cemetery behind the mess hall the other night, and I saw this cross of one of my street gang buddies from Philadelphia who got killed. He was a Marine. He got killed on the invasion of Saipan that we were on." And said, "I saw his cross there." And I did not know that. And I saw him. Said, "I knelt there. I put my beads on his cross, and I come back. And so I'm tell you what, if we make it, I'm gonna be with you. So whatever happens, I'm gonna be with you." So he flew the rest of the war with me. But the 9 of us that made it, joy and sadness rolled together all tight. I recall coming under the Golden Gate Bridge, a couple of hundred people standing there waving little flags and waving handkerchiefs and things, greeting. And I mean, that really got to you, you know. And the guys at Spurkey and Shorty and all the guys that we saw got shot down, we just didn't feel that we were deserving of this great honor that we were standing there taking on with all these other guys, you know. I remember tears in my eyes and a lump in my throat, full of sadness and full of joy all at the same time. I just remember that was a horrific emotional feeling. When I got out of the service, I was ready to settle down and get a job and get married and have a normal lifestyle. God has been so good to me. He has blessed me in so many ways. He blessed me with a beautiful young woman for my wife, 4 great children. He blessed me. I only had a high school education, for example, and I was conscious of that, and I was a little embarrassed maybe a few times along the way. Here I had these CPAs, I had these guys that, lawyers and everything else that was with the company that I had a supervisory position over some of them, you know, but I just felt God was so good to me. He just blessed me in so many ways. Well, I'm flattered and honored. I'm honored to get any of this recognition. However, I will say this, I accept these rewards, and I've got others. I accept them with a caveat, the caveat being I'm accepting this, but I'm really doing it for all of my compatriots, the other guys that have passed on that probably are more deserving than I am. And I think one of the reasons I'm getting it, because I'm about the only one left.